Good afternoon on what is a bright, breezy but mild day. I am back in the Read Nook with one last parcel and a cat who is not ours, and a nice hot cup of tea. It is Thursday the 17th of February, so this is the last parcel I'm going to do today. I'm going to upload this. This will basically have everything necessary to look up until the end of July. So lots of videos to come, but let's have a look at this. He's taking an interest. I doubt he'll be that interested when I get it open, but hopefully he'll settle down in a minute. So here we go. That's what's inside. Okay, let's see if I can. Yeah, okay. He's being very insistent now. Okay, so it's from Modiphius Entertainment. It's for Achtung, Cthulhu, and it's the player's guide. So let's get this out and take a deeper look. Oh, he's going to settle down there. So, Achtung, Cthulhu, player's guide, and it carries the moniker issue number 1. So this is issue number 1, essentially, of our ongoing series of role-playing game line. It starts with a player's guide. Issue 2 is the Game Master's Guide. But player's guide, your ultimate companion for battling the Mythos and punching evil in the face. So yes, this is Pulp Cthulhu essentially, because it's action orientated. You can command magic and psychic powers. You are fighting Nazis, but which is a good thing. You can definitely punch them in the face and more, and you can also punch the Mythos in the face. Some of it you won't be able to punch in the face because it's too big and it's too ineffable, but some of it you really can. So yeah, great action cover. You can see the Allied forces, the basically special operations team there from Department M. Using some kind of magical abilities there, and the same again on the other side. You've got the Nazis using technology and magic, and it all depends upon which faction of the Nazis you're going to go up against. So, the secret war has begun. Welcome to the secret war in this fast-paced, pulp-influenced roller coaster of an RPG, which nimbly mixes the insanity-challenging terror of Lovecraftian cosmic horror with the chaos and heroism of World War II. Enter a world of audacious Allied agents, malicious Nazi villains, and the unfathomable gods and monsters of the Mythos themselves, each striving for supremacy and mankind's darkest yet finest hour. Answer the call of the dauntless men and women of the Allied occult forces, Britain's Section M, the United States Majestic, or the brave Resistance, all willing to make the ultimate sacrifice to hold back the legions of the Nazi occult. Battle the Black Sun, a Nazi warrior, sorcerers supreme who use foul magic and summon creatures from the nameless dimensions to dominate the battlefields of men. Struggle against Natwolf, the Night Wolves, who use technology, biological enhancements, and wonder weapons to win the war for Germany. Can you prevail against such an overwhelming odds, or will you succumb, like so many others, to the terror of the Nazi occult or the malign influence of the Mythos? This is your story to tell. Complete rules for playing Achtung Cthulhu, using custom version of the cinematic 2D20 system to create thrilling scenes, awesome adventures, and epic campaigns. A complete step-by-step guide to building your secret war operative, which mixes archetype, background, character, and characteristics to create a truly unique agent. Using singular talents, powerful weapons, and mighty vehicles to take the fight to the Nazis. Explore an innovative new way magical system which allows you to wield magical, powerful sorcery. Play as a Celtic druid, play as a Celtic druid or a Norse rune weaver, or harness the uncanny power of the mind as a psychic operative. Created by a team of Lovecraft adepts and Second World War aficionados who have created an RPG which is easy to pick up and play, but boasts huge depth and flavour. Now, Achtung Cthulhu actually began, I suppose, 2013, something like that, which is really when I think when it came to Kickstarter, as a setting, same setting, but using the Call of Cthulhu 6th edition rules. And you can still find the supplements if you look, and you can easily pick those up, run them for the 7th edition if you want. Nothing to stop you. And indeed, you could. I think you could probably take this and run a standard Call of Cthulhu game without much fuss. Nothing to stop you doing that either. I mean, yes, this is set in World War II, but you could run a Call of Cthulhu game set in the 1920s with ease using these rules. So we open up, great piece of action there. Agents again against some kind of Nazi monstrosity. And then we get into the player's guide. We've got one of the sample player characters whom you may well recognise from the Quick Start Guide. Australian, because she's got the I think it's the Owens SMG, which is notable for its top-loading magazine, and her Alsatian companion. Not all Australians get an Alsatian companion in this game. And here's the cover again in more detail. So you've got much more action there, and you can see it unencumbered by all this writing. So we'll get into introduction, got a bit of fiction, and then explanation of what the 2D20 system is, and then describing the secret war. So this is a classified section with rumours, innuendo, and unverified accounts of that secret war. And you've got sort of the first few pieces of really good art in there, and it's great artwork. It's a little cartoonish in a sense, but it works in its pulp flavour. And I mean, it's a case of sort of like recycling artwork from the previous edition, but that's no bad thing. Don't take that as a criticism. Why not? You've got great artwork. Why not reuse it if it works? And then these are section. Okay, so you've got a page of rumours about Section M. All done in different sort of like handwritten fonts, so just to make them stand out. Just giving a bit of background colour, and then they do the same on Majestic, the United States version, and then Black Sun and Nacked Wolf. Not going into too much detail, just a bit of flavour to get you sort of like hooked. And then the major so some of the forces of the Mythos. So we've got the Migo and the Deep Ones, both of whom will happily deal with humanity, if it's their benefit. And then Chapter 3, playing the game, and it's going to be the 2D20 system where you choose an attribute and a skill, add the two values together, and you're rolling the base of two 20-sided dice to roll under and score successes, and then the skills will have can have a focus, so you might have engineering, explosives, or demolitions. So if you rolled under the value of the skill, if you roll under the skill value of the attribute and skill, you're going to get success. If you roll under if you roll a 1 and you roll under the value of the skill, you get an extra success. So we've got essentially explanation of the rules, and it all looks fairly simple, or straightforward at least. And it's discussion of things like momentum, which is what you use to buy more dice to roll, create a truth, obtain information, or reduce the time of something you're doing. And the Game Master gets threat, which is used, which she uses on her NPCs, but the players can actually purchase threat, give threat to the Game Master, okay, in return for getting more dice, and so on. And then we actually get into sort of here's how it works in practice. And this is combat, and it's fairly detailed, in fact. And then we've got an actual good. I think it's going to be like a good solid example of play. So that's giving you an idea of how the game should be played, and then damage there with the stress track before we go on to weapons and effects. How to use momentum and also fortune in combat, in action scenes, and how to recover. And it looks like you can suffer physical scars. So and also mental scars as well. I've got a long list of mental scars here. So although it's pulp, so it looks looking like, so essentially you go into combat, you face down monsters, you face the enemy, but if you take damage, whether that's mental or physical, you can suffer scars. So it's not a case of, just shrug it off and carry on in sort of like true pulp style. There's a grip to it, there's an edge. And here we have, here's the character sheet. Here's basically the step-by-step guide to creating a character, and here's the character sheet. So fairly plain and simple, quite clear. And just go over here. And we start off with the attributes. You've got agility, brawn, coordination, reason, and will. And they sort of range between 8 and 12 typically. And then skills, you've got a long list of skills, the range from 0 to 5, like academia, engineering, fighting, persuasion, resilience, and so on. And then each of these have got focuses, so foci, which give you the advantage of being able to run these skills. So for, let's say, academia, it could be art or cryptography, finance, history, linguistics, so on. Observation, it might be hearing, instincts, sight, smell, and a taste. And then characters also got truths and scars, which are just sort of defining elements. So you start off by picking an archetype. Basically, you can take your base attributes, then you pick an archetype, or you can actually roll it. So archetypes include things like boffins and commanders, and each of these has got the sort of like the minimum what you add to the attributes and skills, and what focuses you can get, and a talent. So let's have a look at the boffin. So there we go. That's what the attributes and skills are going to give you. Then the focuses, and at the bottom the talents to choose from. And it does this it's going to do this for the commander, and the con artist, and the grease monkey, infiltrator, an investigator. And what's interesting here is at the top it's got play a character if you want to do this particular thing. So if you want to play an infiltrator, if you want to wage war from the shadows, enjoy sneaking around behind the enemy lines, have a talent for moving unseen and being where you shouldn't. Whilst if you want to play a soldier, be the strongest in the group, shoot big guns and wield brutal weapons, die for cover, make an impossible shot, or to charge forward for victory. So yeah, then we've got the occultist. So there's the soldier, there's the occultist. So yes, you can wield magic. And then we've got discussions, things like your nationality, that gives you a truth. And you can base your actions around those truths. They can influence your action. So you can again, so you can roll for that as well. And you can also roll for your background. So again, that's academic, army, athlete, air force, and you can adjust those as necessary. And that's the character example creation, and it's of the. Let's have a look. I remember her. So Sarah Rue Walker. So if you remember her on the inside front cover, so they're going to use her as an example of their character, an example of creation. So academic, army, athlete, journalist, entertainer, engineer. So that's essentially that's again developing your background, and you could mix and match these. Quite obviously, if you take one of those, and then you've got characteristics, something again like a bookworm or born behind the wheel, built like a brick outhouse, criminal mindset. So again, these are adding more talents, increasing attributes, adding truths and belongings. And you might have things like, example, Mythos ones might be Dreamwalker or experimental subject, or own an occult artifact. Historical ones might be My War Started Early, so you could actually started fighting the fascists in Abyssinia, Czechoslovakia, Manchuria or Spain. So you could have been at war for years before the actual outbreak of World War II. And then we've got the last things like Scientific Visionary, Lucky One, Street Kid, Veteran of the Great War, Limit Heart. So if you get the combination of your background, your archetype, and then your characteristic, you've got you mix and match those to get quite some interesting characters. You can special. I mean, obviously, I think if you wanted to be sort of like a soldier, you could really go for right through from military background. So you start with character creation. You would choose the archetype, like say for a soldier, and then let's have a look. You might go Air Force or Army. So let's go Army for your background, and then at the characteristic, you might go a veteran of the Great War, or built like a brick outhouse, or so on, or escape from Europe. It's again, you can build some back. It's clear you can build sort of like some backstory into these. Another one on this is you could actually, we've got Dreamwalker here, so you can have a character who knows how to access the dreamlands. I mean, that's not going to be, I don't think it's obviously going to be covered in this book because it's a player's handbook, but obviously there's going to be like a dreamland that you can bring the dreamlands into play. Something else. And this interesting one, absolutely really interesting. I really like the addition of this one because it's utterly appropriate, and that's conscientious objector. You may not want to go to fight the Nazis on a moral ground, whether it's for various reasons, religious or political, and so on. But when it comes to fighting the Nazi occult, it might be a different matter altogether. So if you say, for example, you take that and you combine it with, say, let me see, we've got it here. Say the spiritual leader from earlier. You could easily be, a reverend, for example. A young curate who doesn't want to go to war, but sees this as evil, and uses his knowledge to join the secret war. And we've got using magic as well. That's going to get a bit more complex, I think, obviously, than the base rules. Okay, and then, but that's always going to be the case. Magic is always going to be something a bit different. Not every character is going to have access to it, but they're going to have special talents to make up for it. So you've got the finished character. Sorry. That's to put there to stop the sun shining on my face. It's just getting a bit windy. And so here we've got the list of all the talents. Not every character is going to have access to all of the talents, but there's some common ones, like advisor, collaboration, cool under pressure, cautious, bold, and they're kind of common to all of really all of the 2D20 system games. But if we get into, so for talents, so for example, fighting, you can have defensive, where you're good at avoiding harm. Any attacks against targeting you, whether they're depending on whether they're melee or ranged, are on more difficulty. 5 rounds rapid. When you open fire, you unleash a devastating volley. Spend ammo to make a salvo attack. Your first bonus is free. D20 bonus is free. Or they don't like it up 'em. When the fighting gets up and close, you're an expert with cold steel, scattering enemies with irresistible charges. When you move into reach of an enemy and make a melee attack, the first bonus D20 you buy for that attack is free, and if it's successful, your target is knocked prone. So yeah, don't like it up 'em, Captain. So nice touches there in terms of what's going on, and we've also got the at the end we've got the weird ones like Bizarre Insight or Foreboding Survival, Minor Pact, Numb to the Horrors, Occult Dabbler. And Tools of the Trade, so that covers guns, and more guns, because that's what you're going to need. And it does include exotic melee weapons like broadsword, spear, and sword. So you've got rifles and shotguns and submachine guns and machine guns, all the stats there that you need, without really needing anything more. And if you want illustrations, they can be found elsewhere. We go into grenades and bombs as well, and you've got exotic ranged weapons such as bow, longbow, and crossbow. Other equipment in here, and then we've got German military equipment, so the same thing again. So you've got the Allied equipment, so for the British and Commonwealth and United States forces, and then they do the same for the Axis, for the German powers. Nice action shot of a basically tank, probably a Tiger tank, I suppose, rolling over a Mythos nasty. And then it's all the tanks, so you've got infantry tanks in there, so the full panoply of armour used throughout the war, giving the options for take it into to bring armour into the game. Obviously that's going to make it a bit more complex, but I mean if you've got a character who really likes driving, then you want something like this, somebody who could just drive everything. And then last of all we've got the section of the eyes only magic, and so we've got sort of like magic can be traditional, so basically the character spent a long time learning it. A researcher has delved into forbidden tomes. A dabbler is someone who's just sort of stumbled across it. And it's possible to miscast spells if you roll 20s, because the thing is, with the 2d20 system, if you roll a 20, it's a complication. In spellcasting, when you roll a 20, the spell is miscast. But the spell difficulty goes up, and so does the range of the miscast chance. So difficulty 3 spell has a miscast range of, or complication range of 18 to 18, 19 or 20. We've got battlefield magic and so on, and then we've got rituals, and they've got a short Celtic spell book there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spells, several spells, actually more than I imagined, but here we go. There's the Celtic druidic magic. And then same again for your runic spell book, for your rune weaver, and you've got psychic and ESP talents as well. Perfect for majestic characters, I would suggest, in particular, especially if you take that I was a subject of an experiment. That would be really good for that. And ritualistic magic as well for longer spell casting, and perhaps thwarting spells as well. And we've got a full example of ritual magic casting there. Nice that they're in there, because essentially that makes it look easier to get grasp a handle of the rules. And then we've got the March of History chapter, the last chapter here, which gives you the background to the war. So it looks at Great Britain and its military forces, the same again for the United States, France, Germany, and so on, and then gets into the intelligence service as well, which is what Department M and Majestic or Section M fall under. So US intelligence, British intelligence, German intelligence, French resistance, and then it does look at sort of like the supporting roles. So you've got entertainment, women in the war effort, the role of civilians in the war, So if you wanted to, I think here there's nothing to stop you doing something with those away from away from the front lines or behind the enemy lines, and then Allied forces. We've got stats for typical British troopers, and also animals and US forces. So it's got the commanders of the SAS, then US forces. Similarly, so you can sort of like have them alongside you. Doesn't have any of the Axis forces, so there's the resistance fighters as well. So that is here's a better look at the character sheet. There we go. So that is Achtung Cthulhu, the player's guide, available from Modiphius Entertainment. Hope you've enjoyed this longer than usual unboxing in the Nook. If you have, please click the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a parcel and a book or game, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, or in this case, almost 30 minutes. Then all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, if not a cat who's not ours. Then please do hit that subscribe button. Lastly, thanks again for watching, and we're back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.